In this video, I will introduce you to the product rule. The product rule is the second rule of differentiation. It is useful when we have a problem that involves factors multiplying. For example, we have f of x times g of x. Before introducing you to the product rule, I would like to remind you of some things. For example, we have f of x and we want to say the derivative of f of x. We use certain notation. We say that f prime of x is the derivative of f of x, or that y prime of x when we have it in the form of y equals. We also use dy over dx or d over dx. This indicates us that we're talking about the derivative and not the original function. Another thing is that when we have a constant c times the function f of x and we want to know its derivative, we just take the constant out and we apply the derivative to the function c times the derivative of f of x. So now to introduce you to the product rule, we know that the derivative dy over dx of f of x times g of x is going to be equal to the derivative of f of x times g of x plus f of x times the derivative of g of x. So now I'm going to use some color to illustrate this clearly. So we have two factors, right? Our first factor is going to be f of x. First factor. Now our second factor is going to be g of x. G of x. Second factor. So now we say that when we want to take the derivative of f of x times g of x, we're gonna get the derivative of the first factor times the second factor plus the first factor without derivative, just the first factor, times the derivative of the second factor. So this means that when we have to take the derivative of factors multiplying, we take the derivative of the first multiplied times the second one plus the first one times the derivative of the second one, and then we just apply the derivatives, multiply them, and then simplify to give an answer. Now I'm going to use the product rule in this example. We have our function f of x equals 3x plus 1 times x squared. We have our function. So first of all, let's identify our two factors, 3x plus 1, and our second factor is going to be x squared. So I told you that f prime of x, the derivative of the function, is going to be equal to the derivative d over dx, derivative operator of the first factor, 3x plus 1, times the second factor, x squared, plus the first factor, 3x plus 1, times the derivative d over dx of the second factor. So now, what do we have to do? We have to apply the derivative operators to both of these, multiply them to their factors, and then just simplify the expression to give an answer. So now I'm gonna start by this side. We're gonna have the derivative operator applied to 3x plus 1. We're gonna take the derivative of 3x plus 1, just of 3x plus 1. So we have a constant over here. So we take out the constant 3 times the derivative of x plus the derivative of 1. This times x squared. And now we have 3 times the derivative of x. We know that the derivative of x is just 1 plus the derivative of 1. 1 is just a number, is a constant that does not change. So we know that the derivative of a constant is going to be always 0. So we have this 3 times 1 plus 0 times x squared and over here we have 3x plus 1 here, and now we have to apply the derivative of x squared. In the previous video, the power rule, we said that when we have x to the power of n, to take its derivative we take n down, n times x, and then we subtract 1 from it. So following this logic, the derivative of x squared is going to be 2x. So we apply the derivative operator of x squared, and we know that that is 2x. So now we have this, and now we just have to simplify. So here we have 3 times 1 plus 0, this is 3 times x squared plus 3x plus 1 times 2x. So now here I'm gonna do this in one color. So now here we apply our multiplications. 3 times x squared is 3x squared plus 3x squared plus 2x times 2x is gonna be 6x to the second power, and 1 times 2x is gonna be just 2x. So now here we have like terms, and we just simplify. So we say finally that f prime of x is gonna be equal to 9x squared plus 2x. And this is the process that we use to use the product rule. We started with factors, 3x plus 1 times x squared. We set up the problem using the product rule, derivative of the first one times the second one plus the first one times the derivative of the second one. And now we apply our derivative operators. I take out the constant and apply the derivative operator to x and to 1. We know 3 times the derivative of x, 1, and the derivative of a constant is always 0. 3 times 1 plus 0 times x squared, this doesn't change. On the other side we have 3x plus 1 times the derivative of x squared, and we know by the power rule that this is going to be 2x. So now here in the last two lines we just had to simplify our answers. We just had to simplify our answers, combine like terms, and we have our expression that gives the derivative of f of x. F prime of x is equals to 9x squared plus 2x.